Boom, boom, boom. Welcome to Ep.4 of the 708 Bench Mob Podcast. I'm your host, Peter Augustiniak. Today I have again with me Lucas and Noah Perchman. We got a lot to get into. So we got, the NBA trade deadlines tomorrow afternoon. So got some big trades that already happened, some big trades that could happen today and tomorrow. We got LeBron's scoring record, and then, we kind of dive into the world of college basketball and then finish up with our locks and dogs. So let's get right into it and start with the NBA trade deadline. And I think obviously the biggest one so far is Kyrie to the Mavs. So if either one of you guys has anything to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the biggest move that we probably will see at the deadline, because KD's not going to get traded, I don't think. But so probably the biggest move. I think that the Mavs are definitely in a spot to come out of the West now. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but definitely in that situation. So big move, and I think the Mavs gave up a reasonable amount for Kyrie. So I don't think there was any. I don't think it was an awful trade for the Nets. I don't think it was an awful trade for the Mavs either.
Well, I mean, I think that it's just a weird dynamic between two very ball dominant players. Neither one of those guys has really played off ball in their career. I know Kyrie's played with other superstars, obviously, before he implodes every team he's been a part of. But I don't know. I don't think this makes them contenders in the West. I think it keeps them in the middle of the pack of the West, but I don't see a team like that beating the Nuggets, or I don't know, man. The West is weird. Pelicans, Grizzlies have been sliding. I know we just beat the Bulls because of course they did, but I don't really think this I don't really think this moves drastically changes their ceiling, but I don't know. It again, like Luke said, I don't think they gave up a ton that was like franchise altering. So it seems like a little more of a low risk thing. But yeah, I don't think it really moves the needle that much in terms of the Mavs in the West.
All right. My next question, kind of along the trade deadline regarding the Mavs, is do you think they make another move to get a 3 or a 4 prior to tomorrow afternoon?
I don't really think so. I think that they kind of want to see what they have. And the Mavs have been an average team this year, pretty close to 500. So I don't think they're going to be willing to make maybe another smaller move, a potential forward that can help them out. But I think that, I mean, obviously this was the main thing that the Mavs were looking for at the deadline, getting a secondary scorer for Luka.
Yeah, I don't think they have the assets to be able to just give up to get like a decent to good forward. I think they would need to settle for just like a middle of the pack four if they wanted to. But yeah, I don't see them making any other big move really.
All right. Moving on, we got the Bulls. Are they buyers, sellers at the deadline? I saw a tweet today that Kevin Garnett wants the Bulls to trade for Damian Lillard prior to the deadline. I see zero.
Do too.
Well, yeah,
I do too.
Every fan does, but I see zero scenario and where that happens.
The Bulls don't have the capital to acquire a superstar.
I mean, but
they have no picks.
You saw,
and unless you're giving up one of those guys, one of the big three, really, we're not getting Damian Lillard. It would be cool and all, but
I'm not saying we're getting Dame, but you saw what Kyrie went for. The Bulls definitely have that stuff. They have we could give up a 2029 first round pick. And yeah,
Dame we have to give up completely different level than Kyrie.
We'd have to give up Patrick Williams. We'd have to give up Io. But I'm not saying we're getting Dame. I'm saying that you saw what Kyrie went for. I mean, the Bulls
they're on the same level. I don't think they're on the same level.
I'm not saying they are either. I'm not saying they are either.
I'm just saying the trade package with Kyrie saying he wants out of Brooklyn and they have to move him within 3 days is you're going to get him at a much more discounted price than you would for Damian Lillard.
Yeah, but that still sets the market. I'm not saying we're getting Dame. I'm saying for other trades.
I don't know that
I know we're not getting Dame. I just think the circumstances really impacted that offer. If this was
it completely did, but
if Kyrie didn't opt out, I don't think because Kyrie demanded a trade the guy would have held out. They took their best offer. I think that drives the price down. So Dame, I know we all know that no one thinks the Bulls are getting Dame or anyone of that caliber at the deadline. But yeah, I think if someone was to trade for Lillard, it would be a much bigger package than what Kyrie went for.
Yeah.
The Bulls
though
won't
Dame
do
is
anything.
aging, I think the
The
Bulls will
Bull,
stand pat.
yeah, the
Unless
Bulls
they
won't make
trade
a
for, I
single
just
trade.
saw a tweet right now that they were interested in Cam Reddish.
I'd be down for that
Which
low key.
I
I'd
would
be
too,
so happy
because
for that.
I would love
like
that.
I like him Reddish a lot, and I just don't really understand why nobody's ever really given him quality playing time, because I think in the minutes that he's gotten with Atlanta and New York, he's shown he has the talent to
Yeah.
He doesn't
be.
shoot.
Yeah.
He's a great defender, but doesn't shoot the three consistently enough to be able to.
I think
Yeah, well,
I would
that has to
argue.
be his calling card. That has to be his calling card.
See, and my
You
thing is,
have to be a 3-and-D guy.
I would argue that part of that is confidence, because as we've seen with the Hawks and the Knicks, it seems as though if he makes one mistake, he's on the bench.
Well, yeah, but those are teams that can't afford to just let this dude play 30 minutes a night because they do want to make the playoff. It's not like he's on the Rockets.
I would argue the Hawks, like when
No,
Cam,
but the Hawks are a borderline playing team.
when
with
Cam
the-
got drafted, they weren't.
Well, yeah, but once they got Trae Young, they've always been like pretty consistently near the playoffs, if not like a 4 seed. That one year.
I think even on I think there would be room for Cam in the Bulls rotation. And I do think
I agree.
Even on a championship contending team, you're always looking for that wing forward depth. Guys get hurt and stuff like that. He's got good size. He shot the ball well in his basketball career. Maybe not lately in the limited playing time, but I mean, he's got the intangibles. I'm not trying to make Cam Reddish out to be a savior for a contending team, but I think if someone were to take a flyer on him, the price would be low enough that it would be essentially low risk.
I agree.
Yeah.
But the Bulls won't do anything unless I didn't know about Cam, but unless they get Cam or like Willie Hernan Gomez.
Yeah,
which would be so stupid.
I saw that they were interested in him too. A couple days.
But other than that, the Bulls are not going to do anything, and we're just going to stay mediocre for the next 2 years.
Can we talk about why are we so quick to get rid of Andre Drummond?
Okay, no, did you see? He played great against the Spurs. Did you watch that Grizzlies game? He played like crap. He turned it over like 10 times. He's a mediocre big man. And I don't want to trade him because the only thing we could trade him for is another mediocre big man like Willie Hernan Gomez. But let's not act like this dude's like, oh, he's amazing.
I mean, I'm not saying he's amazing, but I mean, he's reliable off the bench. And
I agree.
Yeah, he could be more secure with the ball, but the Bulls are in a weird spot, and we say this every year. They're in a weird spot, and they're underperforming, except for last year when their big move was getting Tristan Thompson after he was bought out. We all saw how that worked out. So I have no faith in the Bulls front office that they can do something to impact this team at the deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think kind of the last thing I wanted to touch on in terms of the NBA trade deadline was D'Angelo Russell, because I think I saw a thing from Woj that a 3-team trade between the Lakers, Jazz, and Timberwolves is in place. It's just waiting on the Timberwolves for what they value D'Lo at and what that they think is worth getting back in terms of players and future draft assets.
What would the Jazz be getting in that though?
There was no Westbrook.
No, I know, but then they'd buy him out.
Yeah,
and draft picks.
Yeah,
Utah would also get picks.
Well, yeah,
but then
I can see it.
I think it would be sending Conley to the T-Wolves too. I think.
Yeah, I don't want the Lakers to get D'Lo. I really like D'Lo. I know he's inconsistent. He's not a good defender, but I've always liked D'Lo. And I don't want the Lakers to get him because I hate the Lakers. So
I like D'Lo in Minnesota. I know that I don't think
it hasn't worked. It really just hasn't worked because he's a scorer before he's a facilitator. And he's not a bad facilitator, but and you have Ann Edwards in the backcourt with him. You need a true facilitating point guard. for that team, and that's really just not what D'Lo is. So I
Yeah,
understand
he's
the trade
scorer,
interest from
and
both sides.
and the Lakers need guys to put the ball in the basket because they don't have very many of them right now. That team's
Yeah,
so
Yeah,
bad.
I mean, kind of going into the Lakers, I would argue that, technically they have the best scorer in the league in LeBron breaking the scoring record last night.
Very
I
impressive. I mean, it's a huge milestone for him in his career. It speaks to how great he is.
for how long he's
Um,
been able to be great too.
Yeah, and I think he deserves a lot of props, and he got them. They stopped the whole game for him because, of course, they did. And yeah, but I mean, super impressive. And you can see that LeBron can still score at that level when he wants to.
He was the only one who scored that game. Only one.
He
Other than
scored like
Brody.
he scored like 2 more points.
Yeah, and that's why.
after
But
that.
I know, but that's why they lost, because for the first 3 quarters of that game, it was get LeBron the ball and let him score 36. They did not try to win the game. All they did was try to break the record. And the Lakers coach said this. This isn't me hating on the
Yes.
Lakers.
Yeah.
Darvin Ham literally said we got too caught up in the record and we did not play team basketball, and that's just what happens. And they lost, and now they're out of a they've been out of a playoff spot. They lose to a team that's in the Thunder that are completing for a play-in spot. So that's what the Lakers do.
so people talk about, does this make LeBron the GOAT? I saw a quote from MJ this morning, actually, when we were writing down our notes for the podcast, and it was he said, if I cared, this was like an older quote, it wasn't like recent, but he goes, if I cared about scoring, I'd still be playing today chasing Kareem's record, but winning is more important to me. Championships is what matters, and championships is what makes a great player.
I'm not afraid to say that or that LeBron has better stats than MJ. I think everyone knows it's true. But in my opinion, and this could differ for anybody in the basketball community, but in order to be the GOAT, storylines and influence on the game, obviously, and winning matters. And MJ and LeBron has done all three of those very well, but MJ has just been better. So that's why I still think MJ is the GOAT. But again, LeBron is probably the best statistical player of all time. And again, amazing accomplishment last night. So
Yeah. But yeah, LeBron's a great player, whatever. But I guess really, obviously, what's in the forefront of the basketball world, other than LeBron these days, is college basketball. I mean, we're getting close to March. We're starting to get into the end of conference play, and we got a couple weeks left of conference play, 2.5.
yeah, something
like that. So you look at teams like North Carolina. They started off the season, they were up there. Everybody thought they were going to be this great team. Then they dipped. Now they're back. They were back up. Now they're fading off again. So right now they're in the bubble. Do they have what it takes to make the tournament?
Yes, I think they do have what it takes to make the tournament. And I think if they're on the bubble, they'll get that benefit of the doubt. They don't have a great resume. I thought they were one of the most overrated number 1 seeds of all time going into the year. Like when you were talking about the AP poll, and I know it's kind of just a crapshoot, but I really, really don't. I mean, you saw it last year with UCLA, and just these teams that make magical runs in March. It obviously means you're a good team, but it just goes to show anyone can get hot at the right time. But then North Carolina, even with adding Pete Nance and having those 2 really good guards in Baycott, I wasn't completely sold on them as a team. But, I mean, I think if they get back into March, they have 2 great guards, a great big man. But, I mean, they obviously have not put it all together yet, and they're obviously overrated. But if they get into March, that could be a team that can win some games, especially if they're going to be back where they were last year, 8, 9,
but they can
10, around there.
Yeah, and
But
they can also lose
lose to anyone.
They can lose in the first round because Caleb and RJ combined for like 2 of 35 from the field. That's very
reminds
possible.
me of another team in college basketball.
We don't need to talk about that.
Anyways, Arizona looking like a 1 seed. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
I think they're gonna win the Pac-12. I just don't really.
It's not close.
It's not very hard to do.
No, but
I mean,
UCLA.
UCLA is good.
USC and
other
UCLA
than
are typically
UCLA.
competitive, though. I think this year, though,
The thing you
Arizona
have to
easily
think
wins
about
the Pac-12.
is there's no depth in that conference.
It's
You look
the
at the
top
Big
3
Ten, the Big
teams.
12. I mean, anyone could beat anyone any given night, but I mean that's just
I'd
not
argue even the
case.
ACC, anyone could beat anyone.
That gets bad down in the ACC.
In a normal year, I would say potentially anyone could beat anyone.
Dude, the ACC has not been great
is a
lately.
bad conference. They're a bad conference. Duke's not good. North Carolina's not good. Clemson is a borderline like 10 seed right now. Miami's playing a little bit better.
Team.
Wake Forest hasn't been horrible, but yeah, the ACC is not a good.
Wake Forest just beat North Carolina last night.
Yeah,
they were up 47-25 at the half.
Yeah, because didn't Tyree Appleby have like 20? I think.
Yeah, he went off.
He was like
23.
Yeah, but he was 23 of 28 from the free throw line.
Yeah,
I think it was like 6 of like 20 from the field, and he rocked 35.
Yeah, but I
hate watching college basketball, and every single possession results in the same guy shooting free throws.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, back to Arizona, they do look like a 1 seed, and Bellis has definitely been the reason why. He has been an absolute dog. You can't deny it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him last year play. We saw Arizona up close last year, and that team is always super talented. Courtney, Ramey, Fitz. I mean, that team, they're really well coached. Tommy Lloyd's a good coach, as much as I hate him. But Arizona has Final Four potential, obviously, and just like they did last year. But anything can happen in March. But you could argue that top 5 national championship odds, probably Arizona will probably be in there.
Yeah. I can see it for sure.
I think, I mean, I don't know. You look at teams who are typically good, and you got Duke and Kentucky, who this year have been started off the year hot, then started losing, then we're up, then we're down. They'll win like a few games in a row, and then they hit a big losing skid. They just can't because
they're not a good basketball team. They have a lot of freshmen, and freshmen don't equal success. Sheboy's good and all, but come on. I mean, you can't expect them to carry him every single game.
I mean, they're only freshmen that plays consistently. And actually, Case and Wallace.
Yeah, and who is their second leading scorer? Is it Jacob Toppin?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that
no.
Okay, but he's top
Reeves.
3 or whatever.
It's Reeves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, whoever. Those are not obviously they're amazing basketball players, but they should not be leading a team in scoring on like a Sweet 16 Elite 8 team, and that's why they're just not good this year.
I would argue that in terms of scoring, you just don't have anyone on Kentucky's roster this year that can take over games like that.
Yeah, because Sheboy can, but big men are different. You need a guard that can do that, and that's very important.
That's what people hope Severe Wheeler would be, and he's just severely underperformed this year.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he was a top guard, and then he led the nation in assists per game last year, and now it was
back-to-back years. He led
back-to-back years.
Before he transferred, yeah,
and now he's really underperforming. He's not well liked in Lexington.
Yeah, Lexington doesn't like anybody if they don't win.
I mean, I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah, ask Coach Cal.
Yeah, one game they'll win by 40 and everybody loves him. The next game they want his head on a stick.
Yep, pretty much.
That's college basketball, though.
It's college sports in general. I don't even think it's just basketball.
Yep.
But anyways,
sports in general.
Yeah. You look at the Big 12. I mean, they're up for grabs.
Yeah,
it's crazy at the top there.
I do want to say this.
Think when you talk about no true favorite. I still think Kansas, and yeah, I think they're still one game back, but that team, man, when they're on, they are hard to beat.
No,
Just beat Texas, but
I don't know if Kansas wins the conference. I think they might go the farthest in March. Well, maybe not, but I don't know if
who do
they
you think will beat Kansas?
I think the team that wins the Big 12 is Texas.
Yeah, Texas is good, and they're going to finish near the top. But
Hey, when Mike
you have
Miles comes
Iowa
back,
State up there.
Iowa State's a great
TCU's had
basketball
a
team.
few, yeah.
Iowa State should be leading the conference. You can't blow 23-point leads to Texas Tech. You just can't.
Then they shouldn't be leading the conference if they're not holding on to 23
no,
point leads against Texas Tech.
You know what I mean. If they hold on to that game, then they're
I know
solidly in front of the conference.
Yeah, I think you can make a legitimate case for like 5 teams that can win the
Yeah,
Big 12 this year.
I saw a thing that I don't know where it was, but it was that the Big 12 is going to force the committee to break their rules. They're going to have 2 like top 4 teams in one region, like K-State a 3 and Baylor a 4, something along those lines. So they're going to have to break a rule.
Them anywhere else.
Yeah, you can't put Baylor on the 5 line. It's just not plausible.
No.
So it's the best conference in basketball, and maybe if they can win a title, maybe the best conference like ever. We're getting to that territory where you can start talking about that.
Season,
I'm looking forward to that conference tournament. I think it's going to be the best one.
That's going to be a gauntlet.
Speaking of the Final Four, and if the Big 12 can send a couple, we're all going to do. We have predictions for them.
Oh yeah, why don't you start us off, Lucas?
Based off, I will start latest.
Yeah, and if you look at Lenardi's latest, there'll be one team coming out of every region. That's what we have. So, I have Virginia, Creighton, Iowa State, and Baylor. Virginia plays great defense. They have good old guard play that can create when they need to. Creighton's been red hot, and they're kind of my sleeper. They're probably going to be on like that 6-7 line, but they are a team that I really like. They've been coming on strongly. I know they're back ranked. And Iowa State, I know I just kind of knocked them for that loss to Texas Tech. But, I mean, their guard play, I know Lipsey's a freshman, but the way he facilitates is very impressive to me. And Kelcher's obviously good. They have a couple of St. Bonaventure transfers that I really like. So I think Iowa State can also make the Final Four. And then Baylor, you have Cryer, Flagler, Keontae, George. And I just think that they have really good talent and they make a lot of shots. So, yeah, I think that's a Final Four right there.
Yeah.
So, for me, there's a lot of chalk, but I think a lot of times in March, people get really caught up in the upsets. And I really think if you pay more attention, it always usually ends up being there's not a ton of Cinderella teams that end up in the Final Four. So I think I had Purdue. I know big men that when you play through big men, it can kind of limit your success in March. But I mean, I think Purdue has the guard play and the defense and the coach. I think Purdue can make a run. Next is Indiana. And man, what a streak they've been on. An absolute burner. I mean, with good wins too, good quality wins. Trace Jackson-Davis has been elite, another big man that they play through. But Jalen Hood-Schifino, guys like that, they get Xavier Johnson back. That team, I think, can be dangerous. They already do play great defense too.
I like Galloway a lot.
Yeah, well, I don't, but
Miller Kopp.
Yeah.
I hate Indiana. I think Trey Galloway's a clown.
Me too. I'm not a fan of Indiana, but they're playing really, really.
They're playing extremely well, and I was rooting for them against Purdue. So
I wasn't. I was actually rooting for Purdue.
It's Purdue.
But then I think Kansas. I just think that they have the experience. Literally, they got multiple guys that can go get their own. I think Jalen Wilson. I think you need a guy like that in March, and that'll really help them. And then Houston. Another team, good shot makers. You got one of the best guards in the country in Sasser and Jamal Shed, and they play elite defense. Houston's tough, man. That's a team that can win it all. I know it's super chalky, but those to me are teams that I mean, I think can make the Final Four.
Yeah.
I don't know. My Final Four is interesting. There were a couple regions where I just, I was like, I didn't want to pick the same teams as you guys, so I just picked an upset in the region. But I have Iowa
And there will be
State.
upsets, so
Yeah,
these could be as
I have
Paresh's
Iowa State as well. I just think other than the Texas Tech game, they played really well this year. And I just think, especially if they can make it through and win the Big 12, that the Big 12 tournament's almost going to be harder than their road in March.
Yeah.
Marquette, I think Marquette, they're getting hot. They cracked the top 10 this week in the AP poll. And I think if they can stay hot and stay consistent, that they could be another team that makes a run in March.
Yeah.
They
did just get routed. But.
Well, yeah, but so that's why I said if they can get hot again and stay consistent, then I think they can make a deep run. Bama, I mean, it's a partially biased decision, obviously. But I think if Brandon Miller can continue to grow as a scorer as he is, and if Clowney can knock down the 3-pointer more consistently, that again, I think if they win the SEC, again, they can make a deep run in March. And then my sleeper, probably not going to happen, just complete. They'd have to go on an upset run, would be Rutgers. I think
they can do it though. That team's tough.
They're just they're just a sneaky good team. And I think that if they get up against some teams in March that think they're just going to roll over, that Rutgers is just going to roll over, that again, they're a team that could get on a roll and make a run in March.
I agree.
But yeah, last thing we got for you guys is locks and dogs of the week. So again, Lucas, if you want to start us off.
I will do just that. So I'll start with my locks, and I will have UCLA over Oregon State. Oregon State's not very good this year. UCLA is very good this year, so that's pretty simple. And I have the Nuggets over the Magic. Then I have the Nuggets over the Magic, and the Magic are at home, but the Nuggets are just one of the best teams in the league, definitely top 5 best team in the league. So I have that. My underdogs, I have Iowa over Purdue, and I think I know it's risky. Purdue losing 2 in a row. Iowa doesn't really have anybody that can contain Edey, but if Iowa can make shots like they have in the past week or so, like Sanford plays well,
67
Murray.
times.
Yeah, if Tony Perkins turns into prime MJ again and just like has the best game of his life, and most likely will go 0 of 26 against Purdue.
And gets all the calls the prime MJ got.
Yeah, so
it's a lot of ifs,
but it is tough. I mean, Fran McCaffrey pays off the refs. If Aaron Eulis gets 15 steps again, it's all possible. But again, Zach Edey's on Purdue, so I don't know what side the refs are going to be on. They got to choose if they want the money from Fran or if they want Edey to just keep on winning. So that's going to be tough.
Who's got the revenue? Edey elbows or
dude, I know.
Edey elbows or Eulis steps. Which one are they going to choose?
Or Brady costs on Tony Perkins and Perkins gets.
It also depends though if Fletcher Lawyer maybe like I was up by 3 in the last like 10 seconds of the game, and Fletcher Lawyer has like a 3 in the corner, and this dude on Iowa just completely slaps his hand away, and they might not. They probably won't call the foul, but so Iowa, if they have the refs on their side like they did against in their last game out, then they'll win. And then the NBA, my underdog is the Thunder over the Trailblazers. The Trailblazers are at home, so I'm assuming this game's on Friday, so the line hasn't dropped. And I'm assuming the Blazers are the favorite, but I love SGA. And I think the Thunder are a team that's going to be in the playoffs this year, in the play-in at least, is like an 8 or 9 seed, and I think they will make the playoffs come out of the play-in. So I really like the Thunder this year, so I have them beating the Blazers on Friday.
Love me some Josh Giddey. I got
That's weird, bro.
my locks.
Jokic, Giddey, seen something in common here.
My international players. What can you say?
Yeah,
just love triple-double threats.
My locks of the week, I got Providence -13 over Georgetown. I mean, I think unless you're DePaul, a game against Georgetown is pretty much a lock. So And
It's
then,
wild, bro. This is why he's from Chicago. I don't understand the Paul hate. He just
And
wants to
then-
be
It's
different.
crazy,
I
bro.
mean, it's
and
crazy.
then my NBA lock of the week is the Cavs minus 11 over Detroit. I mean, I think I don't really
Cavs
think
are good, man.
I don't really think there's much analysis needed there.
Dude,
It's-
I know we talked about it. It might have been last podcast or the one before that. But dude, I think the Cavs are up there with the Celtics and Nets. Or not Nets anymore. Not Nets
I
anymore.
was gonna
But
say,
the Celtics. I think the Celtics
KD's
and
gonna
Sixers.
carry.
And I think the Cavs,
yeah,
they have a chance, man. They're
Yeah.
good.
anyways,
They have the guard play.
my underdogs of the week, I got San Diego State +2 against Utah State. Utah State's a 2-point favorite being at home, but I think San Diego State goes in and beats Utah State on the road. And then this is my surprising underdog because I know they've been the worst road team in the NBA this year, but this is tonight, and I'm gonna go Warriors +2.5 over the Blazers in Portland. I just think I know Curry is hurt, so that kind of plays a factor, but I think Jordan Poole has a big game tonight, and I think the Warriors take it home on the road.
As for my locks, I think I'm going with the inverse of Luke here. So I'm going Purdue over Iowa. Just because again, I think it does not matter the players on the court in this game. It's gonna be a battle of the refs. I mean, who's gonna have them? That's gonna matter most. Pretty much that is a game of refs. You like seeing poorly officiated basketball, watch that game.
And watch the next Illinois game because I guarantee it's going to be badly officiated too. But Yeah.
It's Big
But,
Ten basketball. I can't expect anything
but
else.
for real, I think Purdue has what it takes to slow down Iowa. I think they're really going to slow the pace down. And I think Iowa, when they get slowed down, they make some mistakes. And Iowa's not a dominant half court offense unless Michael Jordan shows up again for them. So with that being said, I think the Celtics over the 76ers tonight is a lock. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a really good game. I mean, you got MVP candidates on both sides, but it should be really interesting. I do think the Celtics get the win. I like their guard play a little bit more, even though Harden and Maxey, I mean, that's saying a lot. Those are two really good teams, but I like the Celtics. As for my dogs, I think Iowa State is 5-point road dogs at West Virginia. I think Iowa State stays in Big 12 title contention, and I think they win that game. That's a game they should win. Not according to Vegas, but I think they should win.
Vegas knows something we don't.
Yeah, it always gets a little sketchy when something's like that. And I also have the Warriors over the Blazers, and I know
So
it's
original.
risky.
So
I
original.
know it's risky, but I think, man, that's tough. That's really an underdog story with Curry out, but
That's
Jordan Poole.
I just think Jordan Poole
I
takes
put
over
some
that
money
game.
on. I put some money on Jordan Poole under on assists his first game without Curry, and he had a career high. So, I mean, you can't win.
I think you're just
Jordan
bad at
Poole,
betting.
You want to see my account, Luke?
No,
I mean, I'm up about 180
No,
bucks
no.
right now.
This podcast we do not condone sports betting. Come on, you know
Well,
that.
I
We're
mean,
none of no.
I made $180. It's like a week of work, bro.
anyways,
Don't sports bet.
anyways, that's about all we got for you guys this week. So
Illinois over Rutgers.
we'll see you on Thursday's podcast. Thank you.
Illinois over Courtney Green and the Rutgers. Illinois got screwed against Iowa. We'll see you.